everybody, it's your girl Suzette, and it's very early on a Tuesday morning. As is true, every time I go walking, and even truer when I listen to the Redefining Wealth podcast with Patrice Washington, something she or one of her guests says always evokes out of me the best of me, the divine of me. And hi, good morning. I was just listening to one of her podcast episodes. Now, see, I did this spontaneously, so I can't even tell you which episode it was. Oh gosh, I wish I could. I'll put it in the description. But she and her guests were talking, and I had an aha moment that really helped me this morning, because one of the things I try to do by being transparent, by being honest, sometimes I'm so detailed in my honesty, I'm so descriptive that I feel like sometimes because I go there so effortlessly and so deeply, I throw myself into vulnerability. I don't fear it. I don't fear going into those dark, deep places that sometimes it makes other people uncomfortable because they don't want to go. They don't want that. And so I was feeling benched. I'll be honest with you. I was feeling like things were going along just fine, and I showed up honestly and vulnerably, and instead of it being welcomed, it felt like it was shunned. And so because I don't really know what was going on in the heart and the mind of the other people, I just wanted to come out and talk to God about it, because regardless of what's going on with them, the issue is I'm the one that has been invited by that situation or that interaction to dig deeper into what it brought up for me and why it brought it up for me. And so it has really, you have to forgive it because I'm outdoors, and so you keep hearing all these cars and so forth. But anyway, she was talking, and one of the things she was saying is that people wonder why on your podcast you tell so much of your business. And one of the things that she said was, because I've gone through some things and it has given me compassion for other people. And so I feel like if I tell my story, it will help them. It will help them to own their story without any shame around it. And that's exactly why I tell my deeper truth, because there's so much shame. There's so much shame. But many of us, we've internalized the shame. We've internalized shame because of how someone treated us. When we stood in the light, when we were ourselves, when we were vulnerable, and vulnerable just means that you're just being yourself. You're just being authentic. That someone significant in our lives made us feel bad. And for many of us, we carry that shame. But the sad thing is, when people block vulnerability, that means they're trapped in that shame. And that means they've turned on themselves. They've turned on themselves. They love the personality they've created, right? But they've turned on that little girl or that little boy that got shamed for simply being who they are. And so the reason why I am so transparent, I'm transparent and I'm honest, and it's uncomfortable sometimes, but I have grown to appreciate and to actually value that, because that's what keeps me whole. That's what keeps me healed. That's what keeps me okay. I have to live in the light. And when I go through situations that trigger me, it's an invitation to step into the light. And so one of the things that came to me, because you know how sometimes you're going on along like nothing's going on, but you're secretly grappling with what happened. You're secretly grappling with a story about what happened, that no matter how much you try to read scripture, or how much you pray, or how much you try to speak it, a higher vibration mantra, that thing still nags you. Because there's a part of you that feels ashamed. There's a part of you that feels like you failed. There's a part of you that feels like it's your fault. And so sometimes you will distance yourself because you don't want to stay in that space of feeling like it was your fault. And so sometimes you distance yourself. And so I thought to myself, if I do that, then instead of it causing me to have complaint about other people, or my defense mechanism trying so hard to take care of me that it has to make up a story about the other person that vilifies them, right? Then instead of doing that, to allow compassion to be the story. And so what I heard in my heart was, instead of trying to find something wrong with the people that you feel benched you, why not allow that experience that only triggers something that they had nothing to do with? They triggered a deep pain. They triggered a memory, an emotion in your emotional muscle memory. That's all they did. They did not hurt you. They did not shame you. It's just that the way the situation happened, it just reminded you. It reminded your muscle memory. You might have forgotten the incident, but it's in your muscle memory. And so, as I was listening to Patrice's podcast, it became very clear. Compassion. Have compassion for the person, regardless to whether you're right about it, that they actually did bench you and say deuces, or whether it's just your pain creating the story that you've told yourself so much that you believe it. Right? And so I was listening and I said, Lord, you know what? Really, in all honesty, regardless of whether the person meant me good, meant me ill, regardless of whether the people that most recently made me feel benched, regardless to what their motives and motivation was, I have to know that most people make decisions or do that or treat other people poorly because their pain has been roused. It's like a perfect pain meets pain interaction. And I think that's why sometimes people don't like to get close to other people. It's easier to be on the periphery. It's easier to be smiling acquaintances than it is to get closer. It's easier to trust no one than to open your heart. And that's not because of the other person. It's because of a pain that we have not allowed God to transform into compassion. Instead, we try to find something wrong with the other person to make ourselves feel better, to absolve ourselves from guilt, from obviously doing something wrong, or shame. Something's wrong with me. See, that's the difference. Guilt means I did something that was wrong. Shame means I myself am wrong. I'm the problem. And so what I heard in my spirit, just walking and listening to that podcast, is however you're treated by other people, it should not bring out the critic in you. It should not bring out the you that wants to blame them. It should not bring out the offended you. What it should cause is compassion, because you realize that all of us are only responding or reacting to some pain, some guilt, or some shame. And so I wanted to share that. It's early in my walk. Usually I have to walk a little bit and get the molecules in my body moving around to create a space much longer. But I think because I've been pondering this for a while and trying to tap into the higher me, because I'm human just like anybody else, honey. I can spin a yarn on something. Like I was telling somebody, I was the queen of goodbye. If I even feel like there was infraction, honey, I'm so done with you that when I see you, I can go, hey girl, how you doing? And thinking myself, see you, no. And it's like, and it doesn't even bother me. But that's the way we lie to ourselves. We lie to ourselves and tell ourselves that we're okay because we cut people off so fast. But just our ability to cut people off so fast, it means that we are reacting to pain that keeps getting compounded by the people we find ourselves in proximity to that keep right on triggering it. And I don't think life is just cruel like that and just wants you to just suffer. So it keeps right on keeping you in an endless do loop of reliving your pain. But I do believe that we're doomed to keep reliving it until we allow the divine in us, until we allow our humanity to respond with compassion. So my prayer as I am finishing my walk is, God, in the place of complaint, in the place of hurt, let there be compassion.